This is the legend of why the North Star stands still. Long, long ago, when the world was young, the people of the sky were so restless and traveled so much they had made trails in the heavens. Now if we watch the sky all through the night, we can see which way they go. But one star does not travel. This is the North Star. He cannot travel. He cannot move. When he was on Earth long, long ago, he was known as Naga, the mountain sheep, the son of Shino. He was brave, daring, sure-footed, and courageous. His father was so proud of him and loved him so much that he put large earrings on the side of his head and made him look dignified, important, and very commanding. Every day, Naga was climbing, and always climbing. He hunted for the roughest and the highest mountains. He climbed them, he lived among them, and he was very happy. Once in a very long time ago, he found a very high peak. Its sides were steep and smooth, and its sharp peak reached into the clouds. Naga looked up and said, "I wonder what's up there. I will climb to the very highest point." Around and around the mountain he traveled, looking for a trail, but he could not find one. There was nothing but sheer cliffs all the way around. This was the first mountain Naga had ever seen that he could not climb. He wandered and wondered what he should do. He felt sure that his father would feel ashamed of him if he knew that there was a mountain his son could not climb. Naga determined that he would find his way up to the top, and his father would be very proud of him to see him standing on top of such a high peak. Again and again he walked around the mountain, stopping every now and then to peer up at the steep cliff, hoping to see a crevice on which he can get a footing. Again and again he went up as far as he could, but always had to come back down. At last he found a big crack in a rock and he went down, but not up. Down he went into it, and then soon he found the hole had turned upwards. His heart was made glad, and up he continued to climb. Soon it became so dark that he could not see the cave was full of loose rocks that slipped under his feet and rolled down. Soon he heard from a big fearsome noise coming up, and through the shaft at the time of the rolling rocks were dashed to pieces at the bottom. In the darkness he slipped often. He skinned his knees. His courage and determination began to fail. He had never been in such a dark place, so very dangerous. He was afraid, and also he was very tired. "I will go back. I have to go back. I will look for a better place to climb," he said to himself. "I am not afraid out on the open cliffs, but this dark hole fills me with fear, and I'm honestly scared. I want to get out of here." But when Naga turned to go back down, he found that the rolling rocks had closed the cave below him. He could no longer get down. He saw there was only one thing that he could do. He must go on climbing until he came out somewhere eventually. After a long climb, he saw a little light, and he knew that it was coming from out of the hole. "Now I am happy," he said. "I am glad. I really came up through that dark hole and made it out." Looking around him, he became almost breathless, for he found that he was on top of that very high peak. There was scarcely room for him to turn around, and looking down from this height made him very dizzy. He saw the cliffs below him in every direction, and saw a small place in which he could move. Nowhere on the outside could he get down, and the cave was closed from the inside. "Here I must stay until I die," he said. "But I've climbed my mountain. I've climbed my mountain at last, and nothing can take that from me." He ate a little grass and drank a little water that he found in the holes in the rocks. Then he felt better. He was much higher than he had ever been before. He was higher than any mountain. He could see and he could look down on the earth that was very far below him. About this time, his father was walking over the sky. He looked everywhere for his son, but he could not find him. Then he called loudly, "Naga! Naga!" And his son answered him from the top of the highest cliffs. When Shino saw him there, he felt sorrowful to himself. My brave son can never come down. Always he must stay on the top of the highest mountain. He can travel and climb no more. I will not let my brave son die. I will turn him into a star, and he can stand there and shine where everyone can see him. He shall be a guide to mark for all living things on earth or in the sky. And so Naga became a star that every living thing can see. It is the only star that will always be found in the same place. Always he stands still. The directions are set by him. Travelers look up at him. They can always find their way. He does not move around as other stars do, so he is called the fixed star. And because he is in the true north at all time, our people call him Kwayamwi Winot Putsi. These words mean the North Star. Besides Naga, other mountain sheep are in the sky. They are called the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper. They too have found the great mountain and have been challenged by it. They have seen Naga standing on its top, and they want to go up to talk to him. Shino, the father of the North Star, turned them into stars also. You may see them in the sky at the foot of the big mountain. Where they are traveling, they go around and around the mountain, seeking the trail that leads upward to Naga, who stands at the top, and he still stands there as the North Star. And this is the legend of the Northern Lights, a legend told by the Ojibwe people. Many of us who live in the northern areas of the American continent have had the delightful experience of watching the magnificent display of moving multicolored misty lights as they flash across the night skies. A number of theories and explanations have been advanced for this natural phenomenon known as the Aurora Borealis, or the Northern Lights. But let us travel back into our minds, back through the eons of time, and discover how they really came into being. We are in a world that spins in perfect vertical position upon its axis. The moderate temperature is about the same all over the surface, and beautiful vegetation is everywhere. As we return through time, we witness the Great Flood, where everything becomes submerged and finally lost. As the waters gradually recede, the tremendous weight throws the planet off balance, and now the Earth tilts to one side like a dish, this causing long dark periods in the north and the south. Not quite all is lost, however, for in the north there is a simple God-fearing race of people, and they had been spared by the Creator from the great deluge. When they could no longer see the sun and feel its warmth, fear came upon them, and they prayed to the Great Spirit to save them. In His compassion, the Great Spirit decided to take them to the warm and fertile plains of the continent, and He bade them together, their families and what goods they can carry, and trek across the barren north to the new land. Because there was no daylight, many became lost and perished in the deep crevices caused by the floodwaters. Again, they prayed for the help of the Great Spirit, and He devised a plan, covering the northern cap of the world with great crystals of ice, some as high as mountains. He was able to capture the rays of the hidden sun and reflect them up into the sky, thus providing a light for His people to see by. Onward these people trekked and became the forerunners of many Indian tribes. The great ice prism split the sun's rays into all the beautiful colors of the spectrum, and because of this, people for thousands of years has witnessed this wonderful miracle, and today we call these the Northern Lights.